The Boys Season 4 just premiered 3 episodes last Thursday, and I had watched all 3 of them in one sitting, and I just thought I wanted to write my thoughts down about it, because the one thing that I want to get out of the way is I think that this is the weakest opening The Boys has ever had in its show entirety. So I'll list. First, I want to say that I'm a huge fan of The Boys. I think it's one of the greatest shows on TV right now, with Homelander easily being one of the greatest TV supervillains of all time. So I'm a big fan of the show. I really enjoy it. I did, however, have some problems with the last season, and I feel like that's going to be fully perpetuated in this season. Let me start first by saying that the political satire has gotten worse and worse, and is so on the nose that it's not even funny or clever at this point anymore. I mean, clearly how the show is set up between having the home teamers, which is a really stupid term by the way, against the Starlighters is obviously a dig at the MAGA crowd versus the libtards on social media. And I wouldn't say I'm politically offended per se. The show has always been a little bit more left-leaning. However, I always thought the show was at its best when it was clearly making fun of big corporations pandering to certain audiences just to make their numbers grow. With the biggest and most ironic joke of the show being that it's produced by Amazon, the biggest and most funded corporation of them all. So I don't know what happened or whatever, but it was kind of crazy to me that they made the shift from making fun of big corpo to just kind of straight up making fun of Republicans. I don't know if maybe Amazon stepped in and kind of talked to Eric Kripke and told him to rein it in a little bit, or it doesn't work for the show because I can't help but cringe whenever I hear the clear insertion of these hot topics into the show that weren't really talked about before ever. Like at one point someone said something about critical soup theory, which I genuinely don't even understand in universe or as a concept in general. Next, and probably the biggest problem with the show, is I'm blown away at how much the show wants to waste my time. Eric Kripke recently confirmed that the show will run for 5 seasons, so that means that this show will end within the next 2 years. We should be nearing the climax and resolution of this story. We're currently in the rising action right up to before the tipping point. We know these characters. We've been with them for 3 seasons, so I don't understand why the show wants to take the time to flesh out their backstories even more. We already know who they are. We already know about Huey, Kimiko, Frenchie, MM, and the Butcher. We already know who they are. We've spent 3 whole seasons with them. So I just don't understand why we're getting more of that in season 4. It feels like we're kind of backtracking when we should be moving forward. The plot, because of this, takes a back seat. What should be the most important aspect of the story, superheroes getting put into the military and the government, is literally put into a C plot that you see for a total of 5 minutes each episode. Whereas the B plot and A plot are about the characters' backstories that we literally already know, and this weird political fight between Starlighter and Firecracker. It's odd because it wastes my time. I don't care about Huey being mad at his mom for disappearing on him 20 years ago. We already knew that when he talked about it. Or Frenchie being hurt by the terrible things that he's done in the past and becoming a druggie to mute that pain. We know about that already. And because of this weird focus in the story, a lot of random plot points also just kind of don't make sense anymore. I think the reason Firecracker hates Starlight is one of the most contrived plot reasons I've ever seen in a TV show. The fact that Starlight as a child spread a rumor about 3 judges literally raping a child, and instead of those judges going to prison for being pedophiles, the child just gets labeled as a whore. A, makes no sense logically, and B, doesn't even make sense for Starlight's character. We've never seen any indication of this ever at all as her character. And another thing that really bugged me was when Huey was in the ice rink and he was listening in on Homelander's conversation with Sage. It was really weird that Homelander, who in that very same episode talked about how he could hear people's heartbeats when they raise or smell them from very far away, could not hear or see or smell Huey, who was 10 feet above him in the vent. It literally makes no sense. So I can't help but feel like the show's kind of losing its direction. I don't know if it's either trying to pad runtime or it's just distracted, but either way, I really hope that they can tie this all up and give us the climax that we deserve for the show. If not, I really think that if he goes the route between 2 political parties fighting over an Oval Office, especially in an election year in 2024, I can't help but feel like it'll really date this show and make it kind of hard to watch far in the future after this. Those first 2 seasons are legit legendary, and you could watch those in any context ever, and it would still hit just as hard. But season 3 and 4, I'm not super sure about. Anyways, like I said, I hope it'll pick up. I don't know if I'll do a review of every single episode. I don't have the time. So I'll probably just do an overall review once the season's finished and I'm able to kind of flesh out my thoughts for the entire thing. So please like and comment, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the show is a bit of a distracted mess, or do you think that it could save itself? And also let me know what you think of this new format. I'm wanting to maybe do these kind of shorter podcasty reviews in the future for things that I just kind of jot down as I go about my day. So like always, have a good one.